Larry, Fort Worth Memories Museum and Groups, and YouTube at Fort Worth Memories. See if I'm live yet, which I have not got a notification. There I am. Okay. I'm going to edit the post. First, I have to get rid of the notice they put on there every morning. I don't know why they do that. So today is Friday. June the 13th, Friday the 13th. Like it. Tell everybody good morning. And I'm going to share it all over the place. Marilyn's in, I'm in. I guess it's me and you, Marilyn. Okay. The rain, I hope, is gone forever. Overnight, we found out that more unrest throughout the world as Iran was struck. It's a pretty scary time out there right now. Larry's in, good morning. Lynn is in, good morning. So I have not turned the news on, but I see that I think then Iran sent drones back. Somebody one day, I think, is going to hit the wrong button. You know what I mean? I don't know how we can tell if these people have got nuclear weapons or not, but I guess they figure it out somehow. Anyway, let's pray for peace throughout the world. Marco Rubio said we are not involved in it. I think everybody in the world is involved in it. Whoever invented all these nuclear bombs, I wish they'd have. Why can't we go back to bow and arrows and carbine repeating rifles? Okay, Brittany's in. Brittany, can you call Blue Mound on Vickery, Blue Mound Cafe on Vickery, and tell them the group will be there Saturday morning, tomorrow at 1. Now, I don't know, with all of these protests or whatever, these King's parades, I sure hope there isn't one over there on West Vickery. If there's some kind of conflict like that, I don't know what time those things are supposed to start or end or anything. We'll just put it off to another date, but I'm sure, why would they be protesting over there on West Vickery? But I've been told there's a protest happening somewhere downtown or something. Anyway, Bob is in, Brittany, Bill, Lynn, Larry, Randy, Marilyn. So, hopefully the rain is gone. It's devastated our operation over here. So I've been making posts that we need donations. This is critical. We have to have donations, or we're not gonna be able to meet the bills this month. Already behind on the rent. We haven't. This week we hadn't detailed the car here. Last week, every week I look back 7.5 weeks. Well, as of today, it makes it 8 weeks, 2 months total. Nothing. It's either we had an extended cold period there and rain, and then rain and rain, and people say, well, it didn't rain every day, but the problem is if it's clear on Tuesday and it's 90% chance of rain the rest of the week, there's nobody going to bring a car to be detailed. George is in. So I need your help. I have nowhere else to turn. I don't know what percentage of museums depend on donations. I don't think it's somewhere, I think the number is somewhere between 30 and 50%. But we get no donations, none. We had 3 yesterday, one for 100, one for 25, and one for 32. That's it. Normally my detail shop carries this thing, has for years, ever since the museum's been open. And this is museum number, this is the 4th Fort Worth Memories Museum. 1015 West 7th, 2713 West 5th, 2732 West 5th, and now 1633 Rogers. So I need your help. There's just no 2 ways out of it. We have to have help. I would think that with all of our Facebook stuff, the museum, the history lessons I give on the air all day around the clock, that people would want to help. It just doesn't happen. I don't understand. This year, the bicycle giveaway will have eclipsed $1 million since I started it. And museum donations are not anything. There's nothing. Bill Paxton saw the need. He used to donate. Good. One time $10,000 and 2 $5,000 donations. I don't want to charge a membership fee for all of you. Michael's in. Good morning, sir. We've kept you and your mom in our prayers. We got lots of people that we're praying for, and now we need to all pray for world peace. Somehow somebody's got to figure something out, and I don't know why we can't just all live cohesively. But talking to people that I know that are smarter than me, Bill Palmer, I talk to him often about religions, and when there's a religion that you either conform to somebody's religion or they kill you, I don't see how anybody can live with that. When you're raised up from a youngster to want to eliminate a bunch of people, and we experienced it here. I look back at my high school that I did go to. I actually did not go past the 10th grade, but I graduated, okay? They graduated me. But in my 10th grade world history class, my teacher was Kay Granger. And so you're talking about 1965 or 4, however that worked out. So World War II had only been over 20 years, 21 years. And all of our history books and all of our classes on history, we were taught how bad Adolf Hitler was and the Nazis and Mussolini. And so one day I raised my hand and Kay Granger said, Larry, what do you... I said, we talk about how bad all of these people are, and I understand it. But I said, why don't the history books say anything about us? We've enslaved an entire race. She didn't have an answer. So sometimes, and believe me, I love my country more than you can ever imagine. I think over here we write or rewrite history to make us look kind of okay. I was at a seminar where I spoke. This was right after 9/11. And so we were fielding questions, the panel, and somebody said, this is for Larry. Thank you, Charlene. Who, in your opinion, Mr. O'Neill, is the biggest terrorist in the world? It didn't take me long to answer. I said, the United States. And I don't mean that to fuel any flames. Our president, George Bush, who I know, calls Saddam Hussein and says, you got 3 days to clear out of your country, I'm coming in. So what would we do if Putin called the White House and told now Donald Trump, hey Trump, you got 3 days to clear out? So, well, all I'm trying to get at, and I'm not trying to fuel any conspiracies, is we always rewrite history here, and I'm sure other countries do too. When Hitler took over Germany, he banned the books, burned them. When Putin, I don't know this for a fact, but I was told that when Putin was the head of the KGB, which was prior to being the head of the country, he had all of the statues, any books that mentioned Nikita Khrushchev's name, removed. All statues removed. Why? Because he backed down to John Kennedy. Every country rewrites its history. Memorial Day here, a lot of y'all don't know, that used to be called Decoration Day. Well, this group started it. It started with a group of African American slaves that came across a mass grave that was just had dirt thrown on it. And these kind people unearthed those bodies, tried to find out names next of kin, and reburied them. But all of our history books, all of the Google searches, is going to tell you that somebody else started Memorial Day. So again, I say, I don't know why we can't just give recognition to people that excel and countries try to get along. I'll give you another example. Last year I interviewed a Tuskegee Airman. He sat right here at this table. Bill Palmer knows, he was one of our security people. And it was Dr. Eugene Richardson Jr. He was 96 at the time. He spoke so highly of being so proud of being from the United States. He ended up being a teacher. He lives in Philadelphia. I talked to him on the telephone. He's a huge Eagles fan. So we exchange. Eagles going to get beat. No, the Cowboys are going to get beat. Anyway, so I asked him on the air, I said, I need to understand, if you can explain to me, how you can be so appreciative and so proud and knowing the way y'all were treated. Y'all meaning not just African Americans, the Tuskegee Airmen. There was less than 1,000 of them. They were all officers. They did an excellent job. I don't think when the Tuskegee Airmen were flying cover for our bombers, I don't think we ever lost a plane. I'm not sure of that. So when a group of Tuskegee Airmen rotated out of France in '43, they ended up at a Air Force base in Indiana. We're not calling any names. The base commander is looking and he sees all of these African Americans grouped together over here, and they're all wearing officers' uniforms. He turns to his adjutant and says, "Hey, who are these guys?" He said, "Oh, that's the Tuskegee guys." He said, "They're all officers." And he said, "Whoa, they're not eating with our guys. No, I'll get a letter drawn up." So he has his staff draw up a letter saying it's okay to discriminate against y'all, and I need y'all to sign this. Well, I don't know if the numbers are correct, but we're going to say around 100 of them said, "We're not signing that." They court-martialed those guys. Bill Clinton took care of about 15 or 20 of them when he was president. I don't know how it stands now. So, back to the interview. Dr. Richardson and his wife, she's calmly sit over to the side, behind where I'm at now. So when the interview's over and we're all shaking hands, and Bill and Kyle and everybody that was here, I invited as many people as I could get over here. I was so proud to be able to sit in the same room with this gentleman, Dr. Eugene Richardson Jr. His wife, on walking out the door, said, "Larry, don't think that Tom Cruise was the first Top Gun pilot either." And kind of caught me by surprise, and they left. And I thought, what is she talking about? So I Googled. And it told when the Top Gun started. And the first winners, it says unknown. In the United States Air Force Museum, there's plaques on the wall, and it said the first Top Gun winners are unknown. So I started digging deeper, and I called some friends of mine in Air Force history, and they said, "Oh, you need to, here, look at this link." So in 2004, a guy kind of like myself, or somebody inquisitive, goes to the United States Air Force Museum, and he's given a tip that this certain utility closet, there's a sheet over a huge trophy. It's the winners of the first Top Gun school. Guess who it was? It was the Tuskegee Airmen. So even up until 21 years ago, the United States Air Force was still discriminating against those pilots, all of their group. So to me, history, there's no boundaries. There's no, "Hey Larry, you can talk about stuff, but you can't talk about anything that's bad about us." One way that I just disagree with Amon Carter Sr. I never met the man, but I'm one of the most noted authorities on him. If a reporter published a negative story about Fort Worth, Texas, while Amon was running the paper, it couldn't be published. If it was just a minor bad rap on the city, you might get it on page 4 or 5. May 1930, when there was a bank run on the bank downtown, Star-Telegram didn't cover it. Amon did not want any negative press about his beloved Fort Worth, so he rewrote history. And I think it's done all over the world, but my point is we need to call everything what it is. These people that are rioting right now, I look at photos or on the news, I see 3 or 4 guys with hammers chiseling up a sidewalk in Los Angeles to throw rocks at the military or the police. I mean, that's really where we're at. Wow. So one day, at some point, somebody's going to go too far, is my thinking on this. And somebody's going to start pushing the wrong buttons. And all of these countries, including us, that think we've got all of these missile defense systems and domes and all of this stuff, something's going to go horribly wrong, and you'll either be asleep in your bed or at your office or driving home, and boom, the whole thing's over with. So I hope that cooler heads can prevail. But when you have different ideologies, that's a problem. So anyway, the power of prayer is stronger than any military. It's stronger than any government. And if we abide by God's laws, I think we can all come through this. But I tell you what, it's a scary time. George, you're exactly right. I've been publicly speaking for 37 years this year. I spoke all over the place. Large groups. Largest is 1,100. I speak west of town at a gentleman that owns a worldwide company. His ranch is about 75 miles from where I'm at. One year there was 1,300 there. And I've always said from the get-go, the biggest problem with any community, in my thoughts, is communication. And when I interview local politicians, they agree. Michael Crane the other day, I said, Michael, we elect y'all, everything's hunky-dory, and then there's no communication. Well, Larry, we've got City of Fort Worth's got its own television station. Okay, who watches that? So we all ought to start worrying about what we're doing, and all of these riots and protests. How much money does all this cost that we don't? We think now that we are eliminating one problem of having millions of people come across the border and instantly they're on welfare because they don't come with money. So we're addressing that problem. And then yet, these riots. I saw where the president sent 700 Marines and the National Guards, and it's going to cost, that one act is $124 million. I mean, We spend money like it's water. And I can tell y'all, I've got 29 grandkids now. And I worry about what we're leaving them. I mean, people ask me, what do you think Fort Worth's going to look like in 2030? I'm not even sure Fort Worth will be here in 2030, or any of us. You've got people, it's people act like it's a game. We're going to one-up you. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. At some point, somebody's got to back down and say, hey, you know what? If we all like living, we better try to figure out another way. I've been asked a lot of times, why did Roosevelt and the powers that be in the 40s, did they really know that Japan was going to attack us? I would think so. Japan depended on the United States for 90% of its oil. Roosevelt said, hey, guess what? We're closing the spigot. You ain't getting no more oil. Japan didn't have any choice. They got to come try to knock us off. James Harvey, you're right, John. You're exactly right. I talked to Dr. Eugene Richardson Jr. about James Harvey. He ended up flying for 2 or 3 of the commercial airlines. He's the one that pushed to make sure that that trophy was proudly displayed. I'm ashamed that the United States Air Force Museum hid that fact until 2004. President Johnson signed the Civil Rights Bill in '67. But yet, the federal government, a branch of the military, is still discriminating in 2004. And it's like, they don't count. Who cares? We make history fit our narrative. That ain't the way it goes. Brittany, I'm going to disagree with you on that a little bit. The 189, which is really right at 201, my estimation, people that were at the Alamo, they were fighting for something, I think, more precious than what a lot of these riots are today. A lot of people ask me why that wash basin bowl that I've looked for 37 years, Santa Anna's wash basin bowl, why it's so important to me. So Santa Anna was the supreme ruler of Mexico. He commanded their military, and the Mexican army was the most battle-hardened army around. They fought everybody. The Second Battle of Goliad is what you need to look at. The first battle, the Texians, the freedom fighters, whatever you want to call them, captured Goliad. There was a few people wounded, nobody dead, and they took over that installation. Santa Anna gathered up a couple of thousand men, went back later. There was about 400 and something freedom fighters at Goliad. They surrendered under a white flag. They were told that, okay, they marched them out of the installation and they slaughtered them and burned their bodies like the bodies of the Alamo. Santa Anna even burned his Mexican army guys, unless they were of rank, threw them in the piles, set them all on fire. So, here again we get the way people, and that was in the 1800s, so the way people treat each other is horrible. But today, back then, it was, they had muskets and bowie knives and bows and arrows. Today, many countries have the capability to wipe out the world once it starts. And we can't find a solution for it. We can get on the moon, we can do all kinds of stuff. I've always wondered why we can't cure cancer. I had a guy tell me one time, a guy that I thought was really the smartest man I ever met. He was in the oil business when I was just a young guy in my 20s. Next door to the Firestone started, it was the second location. My first location was in the old Frank Kent building that blew up. And I was going to make a go of it in the detail business. And this gentleman, who their oil business is still alive and thriving, was kind of catty-cornered by the Presbyterian Church, Marshall Young Oil Company. And I asked him one time, I said, Mr. Young, how come we can't cure cancer? Now, this is in the 70s. He said, Larry, we're outliving the actuary charts. There's got to be a way for people to die. And I said, is that for real? You really not? He said, no, but I think that. I'm not sure that that's not right. How is it possible that we can do all of this other stuff and we can't cure cancer? I just don't understand it. So anyway, I've gotten off the beaten track as usual. We need, back to business. This museum has got to have donations. There's no way out of it. I do it all on my own. I get a few donations here and there. We should have donations coming in regular. People told me when I first started, it'll never work. They also told me the same thing about my bicycle giveaway. That'll never happen next year. He won't be able to keep doing it. This year's the 39th year. This year, when we gather up another 450 bikes, which the goal this year is 1,400, we will have given away $1 million worth of bicycles in 39 years if you value them at $50 a piece. Last year's, the best deal we could get was $79. No $50 bikes. But back in the 80s, $50 bikes that was a pretty good price. But they told me then, it'll never happen. I've also had, I don't know how many, I always say I've had 1,000 car dealers tell me, Larry will never make it in the detail business. Every one of those guys are gone. New car store owners. Not all of them did that, but some of them. When I was next to the Firestone, I was in the detail business and Larry Crawford was in the detail business. They used to call me Firestone Larry. I just wouldn't give up. And I don't mind fighting the battle by myself and trying to rob from Peter to pay Paul, but I got to have some help. Somehow, some of y'all have got to help me. Because we're not going to be able to meet the bills this month. There's just no way. We have not brought in 1/4 here this week in details. Nothing. Zero. So, I got to have help. But I appreciate everybody that gives me praise for me, moral support. I'm also in my 70s. There's an answer. I can fire sale 95,600 and something pieces and sit on a nice nest egg. I don't want to do that. I spent over $4 million in 40 years putting all this stuff together for the city, for people that follow behind us. Because your being, your city, your whatever, when I grew up, there was pride in the school you went to, pride in the city, pride in the state. Texans take pride in the state. And that's just a given. There's no pride anymore. Nobody cares. Nobody gives a damn. History is all we've got, because everything that I've told you up to right now is history. When I first started this live feed, it's all history now. It's all a memory. Miranda, I'm not sure I know what you're talking about. But it sounds good. Oh, that's the cure for cancer, I guess. Supplements, massage, and exercise. I don't know what doctors would do. Another thing that people my age, George, you're probably close to my age, we used to have a building downtown that was called the Medical Arts Building. It was a perfect functional building. Everybody in it was a doctor. Why did they bulldoze it in '84? Or blow it up? Why would you ruin it? People say, don't fix something that's not broke. You have a building that's full of all the doctors. We demolished that building, and now you get to go miles apart. History does always repeat itself. I believe that. And people that are driven by power, Hitler's idea was of a 1,000-year Reich. Well, they didn't make it, but about, 10 or 12, 13 years. When you start getting in the way of God's plan, usually all works out that don't last very long. And I don't think anybody was put on this earth to be pushing buttons of nuclear destruction. I just don't believe it. And I could be wrong about all of this. All of this stuff you hear from me is my opinion. And believe me, I didn't get through any school. None of that. I've been given the ability that stuff that I've read or seen since about 8 years of age, I can recall to the minute. And that's kind of scary sometimes. So, please, if you can help us out, it's really helped me out. I need help. I don't mind admitting it. I've done everything I can do. So let's do the sponsors. Something else, if you want to be a sponsor, that's $1,500 a year, and I promote your business every day. That's a pretty inexpensive way to reach as many people as you have the capability to reach on my platforms. But in any event, we'll just see what happens. I'm not going to go try to bar anything to keep this thing alive. I've got pieces in here that nobody else has got. Hell, the city ought to come to the rescue, in my opinion. But anyway, what do I know? Okay, we're going to start with, at the bottom of the list, Yellow Snake Horses, Brazos River Ranch. Rhonda and her team down there in Millsap, which is about an hour's drive away from here. You can go horseback riding for almost 2 hours for $75. She's got, I think, 180 acres on the Brazos. You do not have to be an experienced horseback rider. They work with everybody. So now, if the rain's gone, it's a great time to do it. Eric Walsh is on the board of directors at Larry's Kids. He also is in the real estate and development business. Doug Peacock's A-Bird, AC, and Heating. So if you have an issue with your heat and air unit, or if you have any problems with heating or air conditioning, Doug, he's often on our morning lives. We were asking, one of our members said, how much does it cost to have them come out and check? It's $95. I think that's pretty doggone reasonable, because if you let something that's breaking or making noises that it doesn't normally, it could end up being thousands of dollars. So call Doug Peacock's company, A-Bird, AC, and Heating, and have them get somebody out there, and let's do some preventative maintenance. Dana Lane. Dana sells Cowtown. She's in the real estate business. She's also very knowledgeable about Fort Worth history. She attends our lunch club meetings. And we're eating at Blue Mountain Cafe on West Vickery tomorrow at 1. Pat and Richard Carr. These people are super. They help out where nobody else will. Last year they were the first group, entity, organization, business, whatever, to write a check for $5,000 for Larry's Kids. We're honored to have them on board. Steve Coburn, Coburn's Catering. Been in business since 1946. You cannot have an event too big for them. They cater the stock show every year, so that's hundreds of thousands of people. Fort Worth Lumber. They're down Interstate 35 South. Got a huge complex down there. I was just down there visiting last month, or a month before. If you need building materials, building plans, you just want to go down there and talk to somebody that's maybe more knowledgeable than you about a building project, they're there. K-Ranch Roofing. Jorge Hernandez has been our roofing contractor for many years. They've replaced lots of roofs. They've repaired lots of roofs for our members. With all of these storms and the high winds that we've had, you don't know if you got roof damage. Because you look up and say, well, honey, there's no rain, there's no water coming in on the ceiling, the roof's got to be okay. That's not the truth. You need to get it checked. They don't charge you anything to come out. They come out and inspect your roof. If you don't have any damage, they say, hey, Larry, guess what? Your roof is good. Thank you for coming, guys. Brandon Cross Electric. Residential and commercial. Manny Ramirez swears by them. They won the DFW's Most Favorites Award. Been in business a long time. Like I say, residential and commercial. Jenny Stewart, State Farm Insurance. It costs you nothing to call Jenny's team to find out what they'll charge you for the same coverage you're getting now from either Allstate or Farmers or Freeway or whoever. Old South Pancake House, Rex Benson. I'm very familiar with that organization and the Benson family. Dave Benson bought Old South in 1962. It was originally called Smitty's. I've got a menu from the 1958 Smitty's Pancake House. In fact, I gave Rex a copy of it when they had their anniversary last year. So they have two locations. Somebody asked me the other day, did they have one in Haltom City? Back in the day, they did. Not now. The other location now is in Burleson, and they're not open 24/7, but they're open regular hours. The one on University is open 24/7. You can get breakfast year-round, all the time. Optimist Club of Fort Worth, Jeff Norman and that group, there's probably hundreds of thousands of Optimist Club groups. They're all over the world. This particular group gives us a tree every year at no charge. That's $150, $200. But they do lots of stuff for youth, both boys and girls. Charlie Guerin, Railhead Barbecue. Charlie is our state rep. He's on the board of directors of my bicycle giveaway, Larry's Kids. Charlie, you see him every year at the bike giveaway. He's not there to have his picture taken. He's there giving out bikes and talking to the people. American Senior Benefits of North Texas. We have two representatives, Chasen Smith and Andrew Wallace, and these guys are super knowledgeable about Medicare and Medicaid. You just make the call, and they'll come out, they'll meet you at your place, their place, or somewhere in between. Raines Plumbing, that's a family-owned plumbing business. They pride themselves in their reputation and their work, and they've done lots of work for a lot of our members. Tri-State Dent, Jason, they will come to you. Door dings, hail dings, minor dents, they do it all. They'll work with you on your deductible if they can. Rex's Bar and Grill, that's where we're going to have our birthday party next month, July 19th. It's on University. It's in the old Macaroni Grill building next to Old South. This place is the Taj Mahal of sports bars, so go visit. I think Bill Palmer and several of our members have been there a lot. Okay, let me scroll this thing. Okay, now I'm on track. Schwartz and Hanson is our architect sponsors. Been sponsors many years. Very active in the bicycle giveaway. Danny Stroud, Stroud Auto Supply. It's not that often you see an independent auto supply store go up against O'Reilly's, AutoZone, all of the big national brands. I bought parts there when I was 16, so that's how many years ago. You can mail a donation. I prefer you bring one by. A gentleman came by yesterday and we sit here and talked for about an hour. He made a $100 donation. Said, I wanted to come meet you and I wanted to look around and I want to help. That's what we need, people to help. Phelps Family Auto Care. Mike Phelps and his family. I visited with Mike and his wife when they became sponsors. They're in the Burleson and Fort Worth area. Their shop is in Burleson, and they told me then in the near, not too distant future, they're going to have another location in Burleson. G2 Garage, Chris and his team over there in the White Settlement area, but they do Fort Worth cars too, and trucks and vans, and Chris is the gentleman that heads up that operation. Grateful for Your Trees, that's Dickie Carr, who is Richard Carr's nephew. In fact, he sent me a message yesterday saying that he did a job for one or two of our members that they were super happy. In fact, both of them gave him a tip, or gave his crew a tip. Now these guys, there's a lot of damage from wind on this last go around. So if you've got tree damage, call Grateful for Your Trees. Get Dickie to come out there, but they do much more than just that. They do landscaping, retaining walls, haul-offs, demolition. They do it all. Give them a call. Whenever you're dealing with any of our sponsors, tell them Larry sent you. Or tell them you're a member of Memories. Fort Worth Florist, Jeanette and her team over there, thank you. They've sent flowers all over the world for our members, and they do a great job. Stinger's Sports Bars in Azle. Now that's in the old Mark Dean's barbecue store that was off 199 on the feeder road. And the folks at Stinger's, they remodeled that deal. They spent a fortune. It's a Taj Mahal also. Blue Mountain Cafes, all 5 locations are sponsors, and we're going to eat there tomorrow. Believe me, you need to get a to-go box because the portions they make just on their lunches is enough for two meals. Blue Mountain Cafe on West Vickery will be where we eat tomorrow at 1. Scott Sumner is our technical guy. He builds websites. He keeps all of my platforms running. I don't know how he does it because we're on everything. Our exposure is about 225,000 active members, sponsors, followers, whatever you want to designate them. Scott does a great job. He works real reasonable. Last but not least is Winstead Paint and Body, and they're not the last one. We've also got Varghese and Somerset, which Scott, I need to get Scott their cards. Varghese and Somerset is a law firm here that Tiffany Burks works at. Christy Jack, it's a powerful law office. Back to Clay Winstead and Winstead Paint and Body. I've been doing business with them personally 40 years. They are on White Settlement Road, 1 block west of Roberts Cutoff. Just a public service announcement. If you're going anywhere near Botanical Gardens on University, or you think, I just cut through University, don't do it. It's a disaster. I made a post the other day, get to know your city council member or whatever, and some of y'all have started using it. There's rules you have to abide by. You have to put your city council member's name on there and your specific issue. That's not a discussion post. I went on there and said Michael Crane. He's 1633 Rogers Road is Michael Crane. I said, Michael, the roads are terrible. He's heard me. I've interviewed Michael many, many, many times. Great guy. Michael, the roads are terrible. Well, Larry, we got this going. I want to. We're not prioritizing our roads. They are ridiculous. All of them. I mean, I don't think, unless I'm on Interstate 30 or 820, that I can go over a mile without dodging chug holes. Big chug holes. I've raised hell out in Azle. But we're just, infrastructure for the government is no longer an issue. They just patch it up. I asked Michael, I've asked Manny, I've asked everybody, do we have a dedicated road crew? We've got one. That's probably what, a handful of people? Hey, we need to have some real prioritizing on these roads. And just throwing that black stuff in there, that doesn't work. With all the rain we've got. George or somebody told me this week alone, through yesterday, they've already got 7.5 inches. So I understand that the weather has not helped things, but my God. I got a brother-in-law that just lives on the other side of the Louisiana border. I used to always kid him and say, well, I know when I've hit Louisiana, the roads are terrible. He kids me now and says, our roads are much better than Texas. And he's right. I mean, our roads are ridiculous. But yet, all these glass and mirror projects have just overcome us. So please use that post and I'll refresh it so it'll go up to the top of the page. And all of the city council, the mayor, the commissioners, everybody, they monitor this group. The reason, there's on this one group, it's over 131,000 active members. So they're concerned what y'all are talking about, what we are talking about. You can also come by and buy a coffee mug. They're $5. One side says Fort Worth Memories, the other side says Watchdog. Caps and t-shirts, $20 each. We just got to generate funds. So I cannot stress enough on you, we've got to have money to keep going. Larry, donations for, I'm not going to mention your museum. It's a well-known one, and I spoke at it many times. They're about 46%. Well, I can tell you what ours is, 1%. And that can't keep going. Now is the time that we need help. We won't be able to meet this month's bills for sure. I have no idea where these marches or whatever are going to be. I don't agree with them. I think you can voice your opinion much better ways, but politicians, shame on you for saying these are peaceful protests. That's not even close. That's a lie. They're not peaceful protests. They're destroying. We're having to pay for it. Talking about your property tax and all these taxes, you're paying for all these protests. Burning cities down, destroying buildings, windows in cars. Social media has caused all of that. I see people that are doing stuff that there's no possible way they know what they're doing it for. Hey, it looks good, everybody else is doing it, let's go do that. Don't have nothing to do. And these politicians that egg it on, during the January 6th stuff, everybody was calling it insurrection. What is this? I don't care which party you're for. Arrest them all. Okay, so if you want to make a donation, you can call me. I'll take your card information. It's all secure. We do PayPal, Cash App, whatever all of them are, Venmo. You can bring a check by here. You can bring cash by here. We can sit down and talk and solve world problems. But we have got to have help. And I say we, I'm talking about it's our museum, all of the city of Fort Worth and Tarrant County. But I mean, I need help to keep this thing going. So anyway, help me out, help us out. I love all of you. I wish that all of us all over the world could get along. I don't know what it's going to take. It's everybody every year, every new president, we're more divided than ever. We really are. I mean, it's beyond me. There's people that hate people because of their party affiliation. I saw a deal the other day that said President Obama deported 3 million and nobody said anything. Trump's deported 100,000, 200,000, whatever, and we have all of this. That's back to my point that I made earlier. We rewrite history to fit our narrative. And that's wrong. And during all of these protests and all of that, We forget the Native American Indians that we came and stole this land from. And when I do public speaking about the peace treaties and everything, I can tell them, people say, well, how do you know that really happened? I can tell you one thing that I can assure you happened. We broke every peace treaty we ever signed with the Indians. We broke them. The Treaty of Byrds Fort was signed in 1843. It was signed approximately 8:45 a.m. We broke it before 11 a.m. Just saying. Security, hair, makeup, costume. See where, I have no idea what you're talking about, Miranda. What are we talking about? "700 years ahead." I mean, don't have a clue. Why it's 700? I don't know what you're talking about. 700. Okay. I hope everybody has a good weekend. Happy Father's Day to all of our fathers, stepfathers, grandfathers, young men that have been fathers or assumed fathers' roles. It's your weekend.